Well, everyone, is this it? Is this the end? There could be a major change happening on YouTube really soon, and I wanted to talk about the number one war that is going on YouTube for those of you guys that don't know. This is happening between PewDiePie and T-Series. So I wanted to just give you guys some information so you know what is going on, why this is a really big deal, and why a lot of people are freaking out, including myself, because it could mean some pretty interesting things happening on YouTube really soon. So if you take a look at the screen, you could just take a look at the graphs and you'll see already that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on without me explaining anything so far. But just in a quick sentence, well, this is the closest that PewDiePie, who has been the number one most subscribed channel on YouTube for over 5 years, this is the closest that he's ever been to being dethroned on YouTube, and it's by another channel called T-Series. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of information as to both of these channels, in case you don't know, PewDiePie, being the number one most subscribed channel for the last 5 years, is somebody who started off on YouTube making gaming videos, and over time he ended up transitioning into other kind of videos, kind of like meme videos, and now he's really well known for a whole bunch of different series. He has like Meme Review, Pew News. He still does some gaming videos, but he kind of just does that kind of stuff. And there's really, I guess, a quality of him being an individual on YouTube. He's kind of the guy that rose up from the bottom. If you go back and you actually take a look at the videos on PewDiePie's channels, if you go to his videos list and you take a look at some of his oldest uploads, you'll see that they really are he's just the guy who started off making videos by himself, just him, probably in a single room, his parents' house or his house, or by himself, no company, nobody really behind him, and he rose all the way to the top, over 70 million subscribers by himself, and he's kind of just been the face of YouTube for a really long time. Now let's compare that to the channel that is currently number 2 subscribed on YouTube, and that is T-Series. Well, things are a little bit different because T-Series is definitely not a single person. In fact, there are thousands of people who work for this company, and the YouTube channel itself, it's essentially a music label for India. I guess one way to think about it is it's kind of like Vivo, but it's the Indian version, and they have been getting a ton of subscribers as of lately, and it's very, very close within a matter of a couple of days, depending on what happens, if anybody else is helping out. That red line is going to end up crossing that blue line. So the blue line that you see on the screen, that is PewDiePie, and that's PewDiePie subscribers. And as you can see, the war is very, very close because those blue and red lines are really, really close to each other, and PewDiePie is at risk of being dethroned by T-Series. Now, why is this such a big deal? A lot of people are like, well, does it really even matter? Well, there's a few reasons why this is a big deal for a lot of people on YouTube, and let me explain some of the reasons that a lot of people have, including myself. Well, I talked about it a little bit. PewDiePie being the number one most subscribed channel, he rose from the top. He did it himself. He's really kind of the face of YouTube. It's him himself. There's not really it's not really a faceless company, right? T-Series, it's kind of really hard to tell who exactly is behind it. It's just a bunch of videos that are posted every single day, a lot of music videos. It's not really an individual person. And as YouTube being a platform that was really built up around the idea that anybody can really make it, and you can make it to the top, you can grow your own channel, and everybody can kind of achieve the dream of getting there and getting to the top, having a company like T-Series be number one just kind of takes away from that a little bit. Now, it doesn't really necessarily do anything that much, but it just kind of, makes things look a little bit different when a giant company with thousands of people working for it that posts tons of videos a day, who knows how many hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars are going into the production and all the stuff going into this. When they're number one, it just kind of puts a different face to YouTube. So if PewDiePie does end up getting crossed and is no longer the number one most subscribed channel on YouTube, it just kind of brings a whole different idea to what YouTube really is about. It's not going to change a whole lot, but it just kind of, it makes things look a little bit different. I guess that's the best way of saying it. Now, another reason why it's a really big deal is because PewDiePie has not only been the number one most subscribed channel on YouTube for over 5 years, but there is nobody in the history of YouTube who has even come close to being subscribed as number one on YouTube for as long as PewDiePie. And we have a list here. This list tells you how long the number one most subscribed person on YouTube was number one for. So you can take a look and see these numbers here are in days. You can also look at the bottom here and it kind of gives you an idea. You can look at the green. The green shows you how long that person has been number one most subscribed. So if you take a look at recently PewDiePie, look at how much green he has on this chart right here. That is all the time that he's spent being the number one most subscribed channel on YouTube. You take a look at anybody else since YouTube started off, and nobody even comes close. So that's a huge accomplishment. And if T-Series does end up crossing over and end up becoming number one, who knows how long they're going to end up staying number one. Now, there are a lot of people in India, and there are a lot of conspiracy theories going out there. That's pretty much all they really are. I'm not going to get too much into that, but it's a massive accomplishment to have been the number one most subscribed channel on YouTube for a really, really long time like that. So if you take a look, Smosh was number one most subscribed for 26 days back in May of 2006, which was over 12 years ago now. Judson Lapley, I'm sure some of you guys don't even recognize these names anymore. He was number one most subscribed for 21 days back in 2006. Brookers for 45 days. Back then, that was a really long time. If you could stay number one on YouTube for 45 days, man, that was over a month back in 2006. That was a huge accomplishment, but then we move on to Geriatric 1927, 31 days, and we have the first channel which held a number one subscriber milestone for a really long time, 221 days. That's over half a year. Lonely Girl 15. I'm sure some of you guys know the memes from back a long time ago. 221 days. That's a big jump from 45 days, which was second place. Then after that, we have another big jump, Smosh. I'm sure some of you guys, if not a lot of you, know Smosh. They're very, very well known. Even today, they still ring a bell for a lot of people. Back in 2007, they became number one for 517 days. Niga Higa became number one for 12 days. And then Fred, back in 2008, 318 days. Still so far at this point, though, Smosh was the only channel who managed to stay number one on YouTube for over a full year. Then we move to Niga Higa again, and this is the first time that somebody was number one, and then they ended up going off the number one list, and then they came back onto the number one list. So Fred took over for 318 days, but then Niga Higa took over again for 677, and we are almost 2 years, but that doesn't even come close to PewDiePie's accomplishment. Ray William Johnson equals 3. I'm sure some of you guys remember that back 2011, 564 days, again over a year, but not even 2 years. Smosh came back after a while. 2007 they held number one, and then back over 5 years later, in 2013, they took number one again for a little over half a year. Then we have PewDiePie. Now, this is when things get a little bit weird. Some people say that he was number one most subscribed starting on August 15th, and he never lost it since then. According to this chart, he held it for 80 days and then lost it to YouTube Spotlight, but I don't know if that really counts because that's like a combination of things, and that's just YouTube's highlight channel. Either way, if you take a look at it, 80 days, YouTube Spotlight for 36 days, PewDiePie again for 4 days, YouTube Spotlight for 10 days, and of course, as of right now, me making this video, PewDiePie has been the number one most subscribed channel for a minimum of 1,800 days. And if you look at it the other way as well, as long as back from August 15th of 2013, which is over 5 years. And now that's all coming to a close. Look at how close we are. It's down to just a couple 100,000. It actually got really, really close for a little while. PewDiePie was less than, I think it was 64,700, or a little less than 65,000 subscribers from losing his record. And this is the number one war on YouTube, the final battle. It's been really crazy, and lots of things have been happening. Huge shout outs to everybody who's helped out in any way, including everybody who has subscribed or, told your friends or family or, teachers or doctors, even your dog. I know it sounds crazy, but hey, it can't hurt, right? Everybody that you've told to help subscribe, you guys are helping continue this race even longer, because if it wasn't for everybody's help, it could have been over a really, really long time ago. Now, unfortunately, just the way that the subscriber numbers are, if nobody was helping PewDiePie, then it would have been over a long time ago. And unfortunately, India is just too big. T-Series is too big of a company. There's just too many people, over 1 billion people in India, and they're getting way more subscribers every single day. So we still need more help. It's definitely not over. In fact, if we don't get much help soon, then it's going to be over in a couple of days or so. In fact, I have a live subscriber count on the channel that's going on 24/7. If you guys want to keep up to date as to the numbers that are live happening in real time, you can actually take a look at it right here and see. It's been an interesting last couple of days. As of right now, 246,000, but it was down to 65,000. So feel free to check that out. And I myself, I'm just a little guy. I don't even have 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm pretty much a nobody, so I can't do the kind of things that Mr. Beast did, but I can help out a little bit, and I do have a little bit of a secret weapon that I'll talk about maybe a little bit later today. Maybe I'll make a video about it tomorrow, but I think that even with the channel that we have and the amount of people watching that live stream, I think we can actually end up making a pretty big difference. So wanted to just give you guys some information about all this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, consider leaving a like and subscribing.